What is your Grail watch under $50,000?
All right, so my Grail is not even, well, it's about half 50,000. It's 25,000. It's a Rolex 1675 GMT with really good insert gilt accents, gilt dial, gilt. I love it. I think it's perfect, unpolished, really good condition, box and papers. It'll be under 30,000 probably, and I think it's my Grail, even though it's not 200,000. Even if the question was 250, that'd be mine.
Oh wow. Derek.
Damn. Right now, I'm still so fixated on the Cartier Santos Dumont Rewind. That's definitely under the 50K budget. Platinum case. It has a carnelian red stone with dial, and then obviously the time goes backwards. No date, no seconds hand. So I think that's a pretty cool watch. That's more of like a modern Grail, because Ben had a more like vintage example.
Okay, and I'm gonna go with something modern as well. The Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Tribute Chronograph in stainless steel. I just, ever since I saw that watch, I've wanted it.
The skeleton?
The skeletonized.
Yeah.
So one dial is skeletonized. The other dial has that blue, kind of light blue sunburst. And it has like a retrograde minutes for the chronograph. It's just such a good watch. And it's so versatile with like, dressing it up on one side, and then obviously that skeletonized dial. So that's what I'd go with. Yeah. Party in the back.
Damn, I love that watch.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Wrist Enthusiast Radio. I'm here with Derek and Ben.
Hey. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Today we're doing a watch draft, and Ben's actually going to be leading this episode. So
this could go off the rails really fast.
We're not going to start yet. First, we're going to talk about what we are wearing, and I will go first. Derek's already getting into it.
I'm getting excited.
So I am wearing the Brew Metric automatic.
Yeah.
So my one, I used to own a Brew Metric chronograph, and I like it. I don't typically buy Mecha quartz, but it's a very nice watch. And when they came out with, this is I think a limited version of the new automatic, I decided to purchase it. Stainless steel. I think they now have one in the regular collection that may be like DLC coded
the
or
black
something.
DLC right now you can buy.
But yeah, I like it. So it has that same single link kind of 70s 80s bracelet. Yeah, black dial, very nice. I'm enjoying it. So that's what I got on my wrist today.
I like the colors on that. It looks really fun.
Yeah, a little pop of orange on the second hand.
Who's the best? Under $500?
Under $500. Yeah, I think it's like $450 or something.
Yeah. Should I go second? Because I want to save yours for last.
Okay.
So we've seen this watch on this podcast before, if you've seen the episode, but this is the Colloquium, what's the name?
Project One.
Project One. So this is Craig's watch, actually, but I wanted to wear it. And it is so cool. I've been really interested in cool case design, and I think that they've achieved that here really nicely. And on wrist, it's kind of hard to explain how nice it is. I think in pictures, you're like, oh, the dial is cool, the case is cool, but it just so nice while wearing. It's one of the most comfortable watches
It's very comfortable. That strap obviously is super comfortable the way they did it.
It's great.
It's like my wear on the airplane and not need to take it off if it's a long flight watch.
Yeah.
I love the loom on that watch. It's so sick.
It is good, yeah. And that's it. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, guys. I'm wearing a new watch, and hopefully by the time this episode comes out, it's the same week when the new Longines Spirit Zulu Time in titanium has come out, and it's in 39 millimeters. Obviously, I love the Longines Spirit Zulu Time. It's a great go anywhere, do anything watch. You can track 3 time zones, pilot inspired. The cool thing about this now is it's in titanium. It's like a dark gray dial, and also with black accents. They put gold indices, so like gilt. And then you have red accents on the GMT and the Zulu Time. I'll just pass this around so you guys can see this.
Yeah.
But it's so comfortable because it's titanium.
Yeah.
The retail of this coming out should be just under $4,300. I think it's $4,275. Super light.
I said, I was joking before when we tried it on. I would buy this. I've never been blown away by a Longines before. Maybe the Master Collection a little bit, but I would actually buy this.
$4,275. $4,275.
I'd buy that. Hadn't seen it. I knew nothing about it. And he was like, oh, there's titanium Zulu Time. I'm like, okay. It is so nice. And I'm not just saying that lightly. Like, I love the Shunbun, and with the grade 5 titanium, I think you said the bracelet was.
Yeah.
It's actually tapered on this.
Yep.
It's like, for that money, I don't think it's better. I really don't.
The polishing, the little polished accents just looks better to me in titanium, there's just seems to be more of a contrast than between. It looks, almost this kind of dark, carbon-esque color.
Yeah.
I would spend my hard-earned money on that watch, and that's not necessarily true of every watch I've seen.
Yeah, it's super nice.
And this is, since it's in titanium, it's actually kind of hard to know that it's titanium unless you have it in hand.
Yeah.
Because unless you have an example next to it, you wouldn't know that it's steel or titanium. I think this is going to be a big competitor to Tudor's Black Bay 58 GMT that came out this year, the Coke. Because I think that one is actually priced higher. It does have the Tudor does have a master chronometer, but Longines in titanium, and it's still less than Tudor's.
Yeah.
So I think they've already positioned themselves really cool, really well. And you can also take the bracelet off like this.
Oh, nice.
Without any
Oh,
tools.
I didn't even see that. That makes it even better. Does it come with another strap, or is it something you could add on yourself?
I think it's something you got to add on yourself. I don't think it comes with the extra strap, but it would be nice if they gave you maybe like a rubber strap. Would have been really cool.
That'd be
Yeah,
sick,
that would have been nice. Like a fitted rubber strap would be sweet.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pass it off to Ben
Yes.
to kind of tell us how this watch draft works.
So this is one of my favorite segments whenever you watch a YouTube video or other podcasts or whatever. Watch draft. I'm a sports guy, I guess. I don't know. I love drafts. Fantasy football is probably when this episode comes out. I'm going to be gearing up for that, so I'm pumped about that. So we're going to do watch draft today. Future episodes we will do it, so comment down below if you like this. But we're going to do dive watches. So we're going to do 3 rounds. Once somebody selects a dive watch from a certain brand, you can't select it. So if Derek says Submariner off the bat, I can't then say I want the Hulk because it's the Submariner as well. And it's any price, any brand, and we're each going to do 3. So we'll start. Derek will be round 1. Pick one. I don't know how you ended up with that, but you did.
Dive watches?
Yes.
Oh my god. All right, I'll choose a Tudor Black Bay 54.
54. There you go.
The size, 37 millimeter dive watch. It's slim on the wrist. The Tudor Black Bay 58 is already a great watch, but 54 is really cool size. Micro adjustment in the bracelet, tapered, black dial. It's actually the colorway is slightly different than the 58 too, which is why I like it. And I think there's still a lot more they can do with it. And
It doesn't have the red pip.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
reviewed it.
The gold colored
Yeah.
pip, yeah.
The gilt pip, I guess
The
you'd
gilt
say.
pip,
Is it
I
gilt
guess.
tip?
I don't know
I
if
guess
it's
it's
No, I
actually
think it's
fake-
white. I thought it was
fake.
white.
Oh, I've never seen it in person. I'm trying for months now.
I
Oh.
reviewed a Black Bay 54, and I was so close to purchasing one after I
See?
reviewed
My
it.
point
It's-
exactly.
It's so
It's
nice.
a great watch.
Yeah. It's so nice.
It's too small for me. I can't buy it, but I
We
do get
all
why
have,
it's
like
cool.
the same size wrist, basically.
I just didn't. When I put it on,
He's just
I was
too
like,
tall for it.
yeah. When I put it on, I was like, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I think it's just a little too small for
The
my
58,
liking.
but
I
you would
don't
take
know.
the 58
for sure.
Oh,
That's my
yeah.
favorite from Tudor.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I think a lot of people were expecting me to say the Seiko that I had on one of the episodes, but I think that the Tudor is more universally understood, and it's a great value for money as well. That's why I would still choose that. And I thought you've seen every Tudor that's been out. I thought you.
No, I have seen it.
Oh, you have seen it.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
except for the Black Bay 58 GMT.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
50. Oh, you have seen the 54.
Yeah. Oh, did I misspeak?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I said when I did see it, I thought it was too small.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what I meant to say. Yeah, no, I've seen it.
So I just have to choose this, not because I want one, but because it wasn't chosen first.
Yeah.
It's just,
Rolex Submariner.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, like,
if you didn't pick it out,
if a Rolex Submariner drops to number 2 and best dive watch, I mean, arguably it was the first dive watch. You'll see people arguing over whether it was the 50 Fathoms or the Tudor, or not the Tudor, this 50 Fathoms or the Rolex Submariner online. Some people, and there's questions of like when it was first unveiled versus when it first went into production. I don't know, but it is the most iconic dive watch.
For sure.
And you have it in multiple different materials now, multiple different color bezels, and then you have all of the very fun, nice vintage ones that I'm sure Ben over here loves so much.
I mean, yeah.
So, and I was thinking if I ever got a birth year watch, it probably would be a Submariner. So you can't go wrong with a Rolex Submariner as a dive watch. I know Rolex also makes the Sea Dweller and the Deep Sea Dweller. Those are just a little bit too big for me. And I would even love to see Rolex do, what is it, the Submariner's 40 now?
41
now?
Yeah.
39 if they came out with like a 39 millimeter Submariner.
Do they
that would
care?
Just be,
I don't know
they
if
probably
they'll care
won't.
They need
I don't
to,
think they
though.
need to,
No.
but if they
Yeah.
did, I think it'd be amazing.
Oh yeah.
See, that's why I chose the Tudor, because it's a watch that fits my size perfectly, and I love that watch. So
You can stop me if I'm not allowed to do this. I kind of want to combine both ears, and it is a watch. They don't make it anymore. But the Tudor Submariner.
Okay.
I feel like it should be allowed. It's its own model. It's its own model.
Because he has one.
It is because I have one, but I do think
I feel some types of way about this answer.
Yeah. We'll let people in the comments. Is Ben cheating right now or not? Let us know.
I was either going to choose the Rolex Submariner or the Tudor Submariner for my first one. And I know, they don't make it anymore. I get it. But they made it, and it is a watch. It's like, there's another watch I want to pick up.
What years did they make it from till?
They made it from 56, 57 until the 90s. So I don't know, but that was a long time.
And you choose it over. You could have chosen the Pelagos. You could have chosen the Pelagos
for sure.
Because that's a more serious dive watch than the Black Bay even.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know. I think the Black Bay series in general just has a lot more variation.
Yeah.
I chose the 54, but the 58, the silver.
I could have chosen the
58.
58.
A lot of cool stuff there.
I
thought it was going to be
no.
too close.
Yeah, okay. Too close to choose.
But yeah, I'm going to solidify that, and people are mad. You can be mad about it, but I like it. So much history that people don't talk about because I think Rolex, obviously, and so many different variations over the years have changed dramatically over like 30, 40 years. So I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. It's done. It's picked.
Okay. So me next? So
yeah,
I start.
so
I go
you'll
first next. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pick the Blancpain 50 Fathoms just because I feel like it's like kind of having two very similar watches at the point.
Very fair.
So I'm going to pick the Doxa Sub 300, and that's going to encompass all of them. So the Sub 300 Carbon, the Sub 300 T.
Yeah.
It's just very iconic in its own right. Jacques Cousteau wore it. And Clive Cussler wrote about it in his novels, and it's just such a unique design with that kind of, it's almost like a pancake case. With the raised central case, and there's so many fun colors and variations of it. The Carbon I reviewed one, is so much fun. And for me, if people like something, and this is kind of out there, like a Richard Mille with all the fun rubber and colors, I think Doxa makes all these fun different colors with a kind of almost tonneau case shape, and it's a lot more accessible, in the $3,000 to $5,000 range. So I would go with Doxa Sub 300.
Sure. I'm gonna go with the Omega Seamaster.
I was waiting. I was like, if he doesn't say it, I'm gonna drop it right now. Yeah, I knew it.
I think it's outmade right now. It's the best, in my opinion, the best dive watch for as a tool watch made. That might be a hot take. I don't know. Phenomenal movement. The helium escape valve, some people think it's ugly. I get it, but I think it's awesome. I prefer it on a rubber strap, but the bracelet's cool too. And I think that it's just money. It's the Bond watch now.
Yeah.
Those summer blues are really cool too.
So cool.
Yeah. And especially that white one that we were talking about last time. The white dial with the black strap.
Black rubber strap. I miss it every day.
Well, I still do have some good dive watches. I'm definitely going to have to add Seiko in there because Seiko has a long history and they make tons of different divers.
Damn, Blancpain's really getting
Hey, I still haven't said Blancpain yet, but I'm throwing in Seiko because they have a lot of history and a lot of range when it comes to entry level. I think that's a dive watch that a lot of people can get. It's accessible. You have things like the Turtle. I feel like I'm just going to take all of Seiko Pro Spec because there's just too many models.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone else is going to mention it again. So you can get the Turtle. You can get the SKX series that people love and you can mod and do all this fun stuff with. There's the new Pro Specs divers, the GMTs. There's the Sumo. There's so many different cases. It's just hard to compete with what Seiko has done and create a fun dive watch. And that's my answer. And their loom is great. I think Seiko's loom is one of the best in the industry too.
Yeah, I agree. The one you have is unbelievable. It's a little bit different, but it's so cool. Last one I'm going to do, I guess a controversial watch brand that we talked about a little bit, but I'm going to go with the Panerai Submersible.
Oh, that's cool. The Carbotech is so cool.
So cool. I actually haven't been hands-on with that one, but I've seen pictures of it. It looked sick. I just think that Panerai it's a Navy brand.
Marina Militare, right?
Is that what Marina Militare is? That what they call it? Navy, Italian Navy. I know it's Italian Navy. I wasn't sure what their name was. Because I know France is Marine Nationale.
Yeah, it's Marina Militare.
Yeah. I think I don't like know that much about the watches, to be completely honest with you, but I just think like it's a diver. They're huge, but it's just like there's so much history
Having a
around
big
it.
watch when you're underwater that's really legible
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes
Yeah,
sense, yeah.
I like it. I
Yeah.
think that's a good pick. And the Carbotechs are really cool with like the blue. It's like the carbon fiber with the blue accents
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff.
I know what you're
I
talking
love
about. Yeah, they're cool. But yeah, I'm gonna take that one. I think it's money.
Yeah, now I'm going to throw in Blancpain's 50 Fathoms. I have to throw it in there because, like we mentioned, it's one of the most iconic dive watches. A lot of debate whether they're the first or Rolex Submariner's first. The truth is they also are really important to the history of dive watches.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of cool models like the NORAD, the Barracuda,
Yeah.
their Ocean Commitment series. They even do 50 Fathoms with full calendars in it, which is really
Yeah.
cool. Like so unusual to have to
The
meet all that
Bathyscape
stuff.
too.
The
is
Bathyscape.
smaller.
The Bathyscape 38 is like such an awesome watch. I love that size. So I think they've definitely been really integral to the whole history with dive watches. Also with the whole unidirectional bezel. That was all
Yeah.
Blancpain who
Yeah.
started that as well. But definitely have to mention them because, yeah, history.
I'm glad you mentioned them because I wasn't going to mention them in my last pick, and I would have felt really bad. Because they probably should be first or second, just in terms of because of their history. But with my last pick, I'm going. Okay, so I'm viewing my picks as like, if I had a 3 dive watch collection,
Okay.
this is kind of where I
smart.
would
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
So, I have the affordable Doxa. I have the kind of mid-priced Rolex Submariner, and then my final one is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Diver.
That's a sick one.
It's such a sick watch.
It's cool.
They managed to keep the iconic octagonal bezel by having the rotating bezel on the inside under the sapphire, and they have some really cool color combinations. There's like the safari color combination that I really like, and it may not be that practical for diving with because you don't want to kind of screw up such a pretty watch, but
True.
it's such a nice watch. It's so, and yeah, you get a Royal Oak.
The one that I like that they did in recent years was the music one in 37 millimeters.
Did they do it as a diver?
It was an offshore diver
They
in
did.
37 millimeter.
But I don't think the music was
It was
a
an offshore
diver.
diver?
I think it was an offshore, just not
just
a
offshore.
dive,
Yeah,
not a
you're right,
diver.
right, sorry.
But they have some really nice divers. So that's what I would choose for my
Yeah.
third one.
Can we put some honorable mentions in?
Yeah, we
Okay.
should. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have some too.
Also, let us know what you would pick as your kind of top 3 choices.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to feel like Ben's answer with the Tudor Submariner is kind of cheating.
It
Because
is.
I'm like,
It's
we
definitely
did
cheating.
mention their dive history already. It's like if I mentioned the 50 Fathom and the Bathyscap as 2 different collections. But I was just
Yeah.
mentioning the whole brand as a whole, their history with
I
dive
mean,
watches.
I think the Pelagos has to go in there somewhere.
Pelagos.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
a more
for sure.
serious.
Yeah.
The Black Bay is definitely more iconic and well known at this point and has
Yeah.
more options. But now,
Especially
you
the
have
58.
you have the Pelagos in 39 now, and obviously the blue titanium. I guess they're all titanium.
Yeah.
Pelagos.
And there's the
is
FXD as
the
well.
FXD. Yeah.
I would say Longines Legend Diver.
Yes. Oh my
Such a
gosh.
sick
yeah.
watch.
Yeah, you have
It's
to throw it in there.
Not like anything I picked, but it is. I think it's the blue one is so cool.
Especially the new one you're talking about, the 39 millimeter.
Yeah.
With the beads of rice bracelet, no date.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a few more options in there.
Swatch Blancpain.
That's not what I was.
Totally.
Definitely not on the list. I want to mention Glashütte Originals CQ.
I love the CQ.
The CQ 39 millimeter is so good. It's so underrated.
Yeah.
It is pricey, but if you're already gonna spend the same money that you would spend on a Rolex Submariner, just look at the Glashütte Original CQ. It's around the same
it's
price.
super thin too.
Super thin, vintage inspired, thin bezel, amazing. It's one of their first reintroductions to a dive watch, and they did a really great job, especially the reed green color. It's this deep green. So
Yeah.
nice.
The new Zenith
Yeah.
with
Oh,
Defy Diver.
Defy Diver.
Defy Diver. The
Yeah.
orange.
The orange, the old school reissue.
So,
I like
yeah.
it. I think a little bit more than the modern. I mean, they re-released the old one and then had the modern one too. I think I like the reissue a little bit more. But
Yeah.
they're both nice watches, and that was kind of a big release from Zenith this year.
Huge release.
Yeah.
The Heritage one is sick.
Yeah, the Heritage. Yeah.
I think that's what they call it. I
Yeah.
forget. Yeah.
One more I definitely want to mention is the Jaeger LeCoultre Polaris. It's not completely a dive watch, but I love that collection just because it also has the internal rotating bezel. But on top of that, they had a perpetual calendar in their dive watch, and I think that's so cool. Like
Yeah.
modernize the idea of a dive watch.
Okay.
I think that watch is so underrated in the perpetual calendar.
It's
It
like
looks so good.
36,000 for
Yeah.
a JLC perpetual calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
lot of money, but like in context of JLC perpetual calendar, it's not that bad.
No. Shoot, there was one more that I just love. Isn't there a Grand Seiko diver?
There's a Grand Seiko diver.
Yeah, there's a Grand Seiko diver.
They make
I've never
they
seen
make
it.
a couple divers there.
Should we
Yeah.
do another draft?
Yeah, let's do another
Yeah,
draft.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
let's just let's at least do another one.
Let's
shoes
do
go.
integrated
Integrated sports watches.
sports watches,
Woo!
and
Love it.
maybe
You want to go first?
I start, and then you go second,
Yeah.
you go third, and then you go first.
around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
What are you gonna choose? I wonder.
I have to. Okay, so I have to choose this, and I'll explain why I'm choosing it over the other watch. Audemars Piguet Royal Oak.
Yep.
Yeah.
To me, you can interchangeably choose a Nautilus, a Patek Philippe Nautilus, or an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, but I would say the Royal Oak is a little bit more iconic. It was first. It was Genta's kind of first really iconic integrated steel sport watch.
Right.
It kind of changed the whole industry. Audemars Piguet had never worked with steel before, and so the prototype was actually in white gold because they didn't know how, because it's softer and easier to work with.
What was that first reference? Is that 5402?
Was it 3700?
No, that's Nautilus.
Oh, that's not all. No, yeah,
Yeah.
50. Yeah, sorry.
54.
50. I don't know what the first reference
That was
Maybe that is
1972, I think.
1972. The Nautilus was in 1976. Yeah, and to me, like the bracelet and the bezel, and even the Grand Tapisserie dial are just so unique.
It
The
is.
Nautilus is very unique too, but I just think the Royal Oak is different. Was different from anything, and you see a lot more brands trying to copy the Royal Oak than you do the Nautilus. Though some
100%.
people do.
100%.
100%.
So you have to go with that. In steel,
Yeah.
the jumbo.
I would have picked that as well,
Mm-hmm.
but I will just pick the Nautilus because it's just the natural 1976.
Yeah.
Modern day, they're all complicated, just like the Royal Oak.
Yeah.
I prefer the bracelet much more. I think it's a hot take about the Nautilus.
Okay.
I think the bracelet feels cheap on a Nautilus. That's my
Okay.
take. I think on the Royal Oak, you feel what you just bought.
Yeah.
I think the Royal Oak has the best bracelet.
Yeah.
For sure,
Yeah.
for an integrated watch.
It's home run.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. You can't go wrong with the
No, you
Nautilus either.
Vasher and Constantin overseas. I mean,
There
we're
you go.
already
So
mentioning these three.
We've broken the Genta.
We've broken the Genta. Yeah, okay, because the overseas was created by George Hisek, who
Yeah.
at that time
A
in
lot
the
of people
1970s.
think that the overseas was Genta, but it's not.
Yeah, but the truth is, at that time when Genta made that design, George Hisek did have influence from
Mhm.
what was in the market. So it's not 100% like, can't say that he wasn't in any way influenced at the time, but it is uniquely different in its own way. And I like that about the overseas. The modern version, there's different colors now. The dial, like the, what's it called? Like the lacquer blue dial is one of the best blues in the industry, not just in the integrated bracelet, but just like period. People talk about Vacheron's overseas blue dial the same way they talk about FP Journe's, what's it called? Chronomatte blue. Like that
Yeah.
same kind of like
Yeah,
deep
yeah.
shade. I was wearing it on a few episodes ago, so obviously I've seen it. And out of the other Holy Trinity is the only one that actually has sufficient water resistance. You have a
Mm.
screw down crown, 150 meter water
Very
resistance,
Royal Oak has a screw down crown.
but 5 bar.
It's only 5 bar. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've taken my overseas swimming, but I've never taken Royal Oak swimming. That would
Yeah,
my
that'd be
thing.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we doing it? We're just doing integrated. We're not
Yeah.
doing steel, right?
Just integrated bracelet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I guess I was looking up like what I want to decide between the two of them.
Too superior.
This is
I'm just
the craziest hot. You're gonna be like, what did you just choose? I'm gonna go with the Chopard Alpine E.
Damn, that was my
Yeah.
answer. That was my
Yeah.
next
Right?
answer. I was gonna
The
say that
micro rotor with
next.
salmon dial.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
I lo-
Yes. Oh my
I think
God.
like when people are buying those watches, nobody thinks about like Chopard Alpine. I think it's might be one of the best looking ones.
And
It
it does
is.
have history. It's based off of the St. Moritz, which
Yeah.
was from the
Okay.
70s, I think.
Yeah.
Or 80s.
Also around that same time.
Didn't
Yeah.
know that at all.
Yeah.
But I just love the look of them. And
Damn.
I just think it's iconic, but you don't think to buy or think to purchase it. And I think it's decently priced too. Like, yeah.
It is. I just want to talk about your option. I was
Yeah,
gonna
go
say
for
it
it.
too.
Go.
The blue dial, like the iris of the eagle.
Yeah.
The dials are so cool. I don't even care about the date window being at 4:30, just
Yeah.
because the rest of the watch, everything feels so nice.
The
And I don't-
bracelet's cool too, with like the middle like link.
It like closes over the top.
It's like
And I don't care what people say that it's like a combination of the Nautilus and the Royal Oak. Like every integrated bracelet after the Royal Oak is like in some ways
yeah.
influenced by the Royal Oak.
Yep.
But like, the Alpine Eagle is amazing. I
It's
love
a
that
great
watch so much.
You carry Chopard?
I carry Chopard,
Have
but
you
we
s-
don't sell the Alpine
Oh,
Eagle.
you haven't
It's
sold
part of
it?
like the LUC. They only give it to LUC dealers. So
Ah.
mostly the Chopard
Okay.
boutique will have it.
Interesting.
But
Gotcha.
I love that watch. I've seen them. I handled them. you
Yeah.
know. Love it. I have an answer that's a little bit less known, that this was kind of like a Genta design, but the Omega Constellation. A lot of people kind of forget about it. The current Constellation Manhattan looks a lot different than like their older ones, but you combine Omega's like watchmaking, cool complications like throwing a jumping hour in a time-only watch, and then you put it in an integrated bracelet. It's pretty awesome. Roman numerals on the bezel, has the griffin claws on the side of the case. It's just very uniquely Omega too, but I definitely had to mention it because that is Omega's take on an integrated bracelet, and I feel like there's still a lot they could do. Like if they tapered the bracelet more and did like a few additional things, they might be able to like really make it something like
You don't see them very often out
They're
in
like
the wild.
No.
like it's not the most popular Omega, obviously, but
They're like
like
one
I like
change
it.
away from it being
There's
like a household
there's like
name.
something about it that like
Yeah.
if they just did
Yeah.
it would just be amazing.
So I am going to go back to Vacheron Constantine and choose the historic.
Damn.
Good one. That's a good one.
It's only in
Yeah.
gold now. They used to make it in steel and in gold. And I just I love that watch because it's so different than I think anything else, but it's still very simple. And it looks like it's from the 70s or 80s. It doesn't look new, but I kind of like that about it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like it's, fake old.
It looks-
because it's obviously
It's so good.
and it's thin and
It's one of their best recreations they've ever done,
Yeah.
hands down.
yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
So this is the last round, right?
Yes,
so
Derek's first.
Derek's
Ooh,
first.
I gotta go back again. All right, I'm gonna throw in the IWC Engineer.
Good.
We have to
There you
mention
go.
it. We have
Someone
to go
has
down
to.
that road. Since we were talking about integrated bracelets, the new Engineer is interesting because it's taken a lot of things from the past, and even the cool detail about the date window having double digits to be like an engineering number is pretty cool. Now they have like a new dial, which looks like the sound panels behind us.
Yeah.
Which I always joke
Yeah.
about.
The checkerboard.
The checkerboard is
Yeah.
probably what they call it.
It's literally just like that.
Yeah,
Actually.
it's really, yeah. Look at the black dial.
Sponsored by
Engineer.
IWC.
And then look at this, yeah. But I think that watch is they have a lot of cool versions over the years, like perpetual calendar, integrated versions. I actually owned one for a short period of time too, like the older version, and it was a great watch as well. And yeah, I think if they made it like a little smaller, like
But
the
it-
current one, I would like it a little
Well,
bit more.
it's 40 right now, and the thing about this is the lug to lug is much smaller than the Royal Oak, so to me it's like even more wearable.
That's true.
And the big problem with the Genta designed Ingenieurs of yesteryear was that the bezel wasn't aligned, and so you could have like the screws anywhere, and so they fixed the bezel and made it symmetrical, which to me was a big plus, and I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
And I feel like when they redesigned it, they kind of hit all of the complaints that people were having with the older one.
Yeah.
So I'm going with my final pick with something kind of Genta design. I'm going with the Gerald Charles Masterlink, the new
Ooh.
watch that they released at Watches and Wonders. They took their Maestro, which was... So Gerald Charles, for those that don't know, was the last brand owned by Gerald Genta. His name is Gerald Charles Genta. He owned also his eponymous brand, Gerald Genta, but he sold that to Bulgari, and then he started, along with some other people, Gerald Charles.
Yep.
Because he couldn't use his name at that point, or his full name. So the last watch he designed was the Maestro, and then the brand was kind of revived, 4 or 5 years ago, and they took the Maestro, squared the case, squared it off, made it a little smaller, made it thinner, and added an integrated bracelet on it. And I think they did a really good job. The bracelet's really cool because the top of the case, so the case isn't symmetrical top to bottom, and the top of the case is flat. The bottom has this kind of curve. It looks like a smiley face almost. So they made the top portion of the links coming from the top of the case straight, but the bottom portion are curved to match the bottom. So I think it was very well done. Seeing kind of like a unique take on an integrated sport bracelet.
I remember the first time I saw a Gerald Charles watch, and it was at Watches and Wonders, and I bumped into Craig. I was just walking around, like, I had some free time, like, oh, that's Craig, and I sat down. I just bombarded his appointment, and then I just started recording watches next to him.
Yeah.
But I was really blown away when I saw them. I've been hearing noise about their watches. I really like their skeleton dials. They didn't put the skeleton dial on the bracelet yet, right?
No.
Not yet, but that's like something they could easily do.
In the Master Link, that would be
Man,
great.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Skeleton dial, on a bracelet
I mean,
would be awesome.
they obviously have to do that, right?
Eventually,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
doubt they would do it.
Yeah, I think same thing with the Angenor too. They'll do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Dials and materials and stuff.
So Ben has one more. Is that right?
Yeah.
There's one more.
I think the fact that Derek didn't pick this makes me think that it's not an integrated sports watch, but it definitely is the Santos.
I was gonna
Oh,
say.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like the fact that you didn't. Right?
Yeah, so I don't really consider it a full integrated
So Ben
bracelet
cheats
watch.
at all these games.
Yeah, literally.
I think the style embodies like an integrated bracelet. It's kind of hard to say, honestly, because I've called it an integrated bracelet before. A lot of people would correct me and say it's not. I kind of consider it as one because that's the way I position it. But the reason I didn't bring it up is because they've only had that integrated bracelet aspect of it like more recently.
Yeah.
Because it was always like the Santos Dumont on a strap.
But let's ask the viewers.
Yeah, that's the watch. Like the Santos Dumont on that picture. That's the original
classic
Santos.
one. Yeah.
Viewers, do you think the Santos,
The modern
which one
Santos
is an integrated steel sport or integrated sport watch?
If you look at the Santos Medium, is that it?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's the watch. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'll let you have that one because that's
Yeah.
a great.
I will.
watch.
Yeah, I will allow that too because I love that watch.
And you get a
I
leather
consider
strap.
You do.
And it's classic.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not Gento,
Well,
though.
the fact that you get a leather
No,
strap
not
goes
Gento.
against it being an integrated
Well,
sport.
no,
Yeah,
you
but
just-
it's an integrated leather strap
right.
because it
It's
fits in
also an
perfectly.
integrated leather strap.
Yeah, but isn't the
Um,
point that it's not really?
All right,
even
we'll just take the bracelet. We'll roll the bracelet. And yeah, I mean, I had a backup pick. Well, we could say in our
Yeah,
honorable
let's do
mentions.
honorable
Let's
mentions.
do honorable
Yeah.
mentions.
Let's do it.
I'm going with my Christopher Ward 12.
All right.
That's a good
Of
one.
course.
Integrated bracelet. There's another watch you could pick right after that I think looks just like it.
Chopek,
Yeah.
Antarctique.
Antarctique.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say the Christopher Ward probably looks just like the Chopek.
Yeah, I know it does. It does. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, it's unreal watch.
You also have the
TSO PRX.
TSO PRX
Mhm.
and the Zenith Defy
Oh yeah, the Defy Skyline. That whole series is
Skyline.
really good.
Yeah, that's a more recent one. Both of those are very Royal Oak
Yeah.
inspired.
I thought Ben was gonna say the Moser Streamliner because it's
Streamliner,
literally on his back of his
how
phone.
did
I was like
how did I
staring
not
at it the
even
whole
think
time
of
we were
it?
talking about it, and I
Yeah.
kept expecting it to
I
come
didn't
up.
think of-
Moser. I almost bought a Moser.
You almost said that.
Moser
great one.
Streamliner. Great
You're
one.
welcome, Moser. I just helped
Great one.
shout it out.
So
Derek deserves a sponsorship.
I
I'm
deserve.
putting up an article because there's so
Claudio,
many
hit me
affordable
up.
ones. Yeah, Claudio's
the
the
Maine Manhattan is a good one.
Maine Manhattan is awesome.
What's up, Maine?
What's up, Maine? The Citizen Tsuyosa.
That's a good intro.
That would be a good intro.
That should be their tagline.
um,
Have you ever seen a Gemma Urban Traveler?
I liked the micro rotor one that they did and limited on
Maurice LaCroix.
LaCroix.
LaCroix. I don't know. If
That's
that,
very
I don't like
AP
it.
inspired.
The Baume Mercier Riviera.
GP Laureato.
Those on the secondary market, by the way, are so cheap.
Yeah.
That's a great watch. The
Yeah.
38 millimeter on those
They're
are
like
amazing.
50% off. They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
I saw one for 7,000, the white dial.
Wow.
I was like, I'd buy that tomorrow. Baume Mercier Riviera, by the way,
Yeah.
which nobody ever thinks about.
Piaget Polo.
Yeah.
They did come out with the
yeah,
new
yeah.
Piaget Polo 79 to all
yeah,
yellow
yeah,
gold.
yeah, the all yellow gold one. That's
Yeah.
cool. There's some more cheap, like not cheap, but less expensive ones that
Oh,
were
we're
totally
just
missing.
forgetting an obvious one. The Octo Finissimo.
Oh, I was
Oh
gonna.
my
I was
God.
going to say
Bulgari
that
on
one.
the
Yeah.
Finissimo.
I was
Yeah,
going
damn,
to say
how'd I
that
forget
one. The Octo Finissimo. Is,
I still think that watch should be a smaller. I think
If
it's
they-
why
if
I
they
don't
make
like
it 38,
I can't wear it.
Oh, it'd be
or
so
do
nice.
a 36 or 37.
Yeah, because
be, like,
it's
so
squa-
good
because it's
integrated.
square or rectangle. It
Yeah.
wears
Yeah.
bigger.
The Laurent Ferrier Sport Auto. I've never
yeah,
seen this
those
watch
are
in
nice.
person.
Those are
but
really
I've seen
nice.
pictures
and-
of it.
All right. And so for the last draft, we're gonna do. I was a little torn, but we're gonna do chronographs. Man,
Okay.
this is gonna be tough. I'm going to start with the one I know the best, and I know you guys are going to mention the other ones for me anyways,
yes,
but I'm going to start with the Omega Speedmaster.
Yes,
you got to mention the
there you go.
Speedmaster. I mean, that is the chronograph, the watch that went to the moon, guys, if you guys believe in
Well,
the moon
the
landing.
Bulova went to the moon also.
It did.
But after the Speedmaster, because the moon watch is the first watch on the moon,
Yeah.
and they have the first Omega in space as well.
Okay.
Obviously, sword hands. You have the Hesalite. You have the Sapphire. You have the whole story. I mean, a lot of the NASA astronauts wear Speedmasters. There's just so much of like the tie-in through Omega Speedmaster with NASA. On top of that, with racing, obviously we talk about like the Omega Snoopy. Like there's just so many cool versions, and the Moon Swatch is directly inspired by all of the
Here's my
Speedmasters.
question for you: which modern
I already know.
Speedmaster are you going to pick? Is it the Sapphire Sandwich, the Hesalite, or
White dial.
Okay, for the
White.
purist would be the Hesalite, but for the modern one, I would definitely choose a white dial. A Sapphire Sandwich is the one that just came out.
I
And
like
then
the
for
Ed White?
And I was gonna say for the true collector, the Ed White, the 321 is like
It's smaller
the one.
too, right?
30
And it has that
I feel-
tapered bracelet.
You know, it's funny. I've never seen that in real life.
Really?
Yeah, like
It's so
It's been
nice.
out for years, and I've never
That bracelet
seen it.
is so nice. Like
Yeah.
the thing that Omega kind of gets some, criticism for on the Speedmaster, especially is I think the bracelet.
Yeah.
And the Ed White bracelet has this nice taper. It's
Yeah.
so nice.
Yeah, with the flat link style, it
Yeah.
matches the style and the vibe. But the new bracelet they did on like the Hesalite and Sapphire, those are nice too with the taper and the micro adjustment.
Yeah.
But Speedmaster,
Okay.
there, put it on the
I mean,
table.
the best chronograph just fell in my lap because of this, and I
I
own
gave it
one.
to you.
I
I wanted you to talk
me.
about it.
It's
Yeah.
obviously the Rolex Daytona.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sporty, it's slim, unlike the Speedmaster.
How thick is the Daytona?
Daytona.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. It wears super thin though.
Daytona.
Sneaky thin.
It's probably just under like 13 millimeter, isn't it? Like 12 point something.
11.9 millimeters.
Oh, even under 12.
It's
Okay.
super thin. You like it just. I mean, Paul Newman wore one. More many.
So I can't choose the Paul Newman Daytona.
No, you
Nope.
yeah. He's gonna be like.
He's gonna be like the Daytona
He's
Rolex.
like he's gonna be like the Zenith, the Rolex Daytona with Zenith movement.
Yeah.
Because it has a
No,
Zenith
no.
movement in it. To me, it is the best chronograph on the market, and I love space. I love the Omega Speedmaster and all of that heritage. But to me, it's the Rolex Daytona.
I'm gonna go with the movement that Rolex had to put in their watch because they couldn't make an automatic chronograph. I'm going with the Zenith El Primero. I'm gonna encompass all of the Zenith El Primero watches.
It's like including the Rolex.
Yeah, it's including the one that looks just like a Daytona.
The most recent one looks very.
Yeah, but they're, I think they're great. Came out in 1969, and it still holds true today. It's probably the reason they've killed it as a business is that movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? So did the Seiko come out first, or did the El Primero?
I'm pretty sure it's El Primero because
They call it the first. Well, I think this one is the one where one got announced first, and
Yeah.
one went into like mass production first. So
I don't know to that minutia of that kind of detail, but I
but
would
you
go
sell
with the El
both, so
Primero.
you should know.
I should, but like I think the
Also,
El
Tag
Primero
Heuer came out the
comes
same year too.
Yeah, like I think the
Yeah.
El Primero just comes to mind more than you would think of a Seiko Speed Timer.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my opinion.
All right, Tag Heuer Monaco. I probably would wear Carrera before Monaco, but the Monaco obviously has more heritage, being worn by Steve McQueen and Le Mans. Now they're kind of using it as a jumping off point to do some more kind of, avant-garde stuff with the Rattrapant,
Yep.
which is very expensive, but also very cool if you see it.
Yeah.
And it's developed. The movement is the same movement that's in some Richard Mules, and is obviously has been customized for them, but it's still a great watch. And if you want a chronograph with a lot of history and heritage, there you go.
I love the Tag Heuer Monaco. I used to have one actually too.
Really?
Yeah, it's a cool watch.
The Bamford one, I was looking at it recently.
It's cool.
With the baby blue subdials, is
Yeah.
super cool.
I haven't seen that one. I saw
Yeah.
they had a green one.
Yep.
I'm also gonna go with something from Heuer because you mentioned it, but it's not Monaco. It's very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the Carrera.
Yeah.
I think the Carrera chronographs
Like
are
the
so
glass
cool.
box, the new one.
The glass box,
glass box,
yeah.
Skipper.
Always in my head are the older ones, but
Yeah.
the new Carrera is so cool. The Skipper and the reverse Panda and the black dial one is so cool.
I'm gonna throw in the Cartier Tortue Mono Pusher. I mean, it's a very specific watch, but because like
really
Cartier
cool
doesn't
watch.
have that many chronographs as like some other brands, like. But the Tortue Mono Pusher, I think, is the one that comes to mind a lot. I mean, you have the Tortue case, which is like the turtle case, the Mono Pusher chronograph, dual register. There's different versions. The latest one has like the whole movement that fills up the entire case.
Right.
I think it's just blending the best of like Cartier's watch shape with an awesome movement chronograph.
Yeah.
So who goes first? This.
Guess me.
And then I go last. Okay.
Out of the box pick, but classic. They kind of just reissued it, but the Seiko Pogue.
Oh,
I didn't even know that.
we just got them in.
Oh, you just got the new one?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
I
Seiko
want to see it
Speedmaster
after
Pogue.
this.
I'll show you it.
So the Pogue's the classic. You probably know more about the Pogue than I do. But it's really cool, like almost gold dial,
Yeah.
Pepsi bezel. It's probably the most collectible Seiko I would say ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm not that well versed with the Pogue as like some
Yeah.
of the other Seiko stuff, but I know that it has a huge following. The gold dial, the Pepsi. I think they did like a diver version a few years ago for like the Seiko. It was like create your own Seiko, and like people designed a Pogue, but in a dive watch, and that was like really popular.
It's the only watch that actually looks like a Pogue. Like, I feel like other brands that are making watches, you see inspiration.
Yeah.
I feel like in the Pogue, it's like it's its own thing.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
On first glance, I immediately hated it, and over the last couple of years, it's grown on me, and now I actually love it. I would buy one. They just get so expensive.
Yeah.
You find an older one.
Yeah, I'll show
Like,
you it
ridiculous.
after. Here.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like just mentioning chronographs that I like.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's the point.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mention the Breguet 3237 again.
That's a sick
That's the dual register chronograph that they made back in like the 90s, and that was when Daniel Roth was with Breguet as well. So that design is really nice. The sizing of those watches are great. They come in like platinum, white gold, yellow gold. Obviously they're a more neo vintage style, so you don't really find them in a modern collection anymore, but I think they left such an impact because that's like such classic Breguet style, Breguet hands, and then having an awesome Lemania movement inside too.
So I think this may be the second best chronograph.
Do we just
And-
not
and
say
the-
it?
The Longa Datagraph.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
how
you're
did we-
right.
yeah.
You're
It
right.
is such a nice watch. I mean, it was really the first time that brands started putting their own movements into chronographs.
Yeah.
Besides, I guess, I mean, it was probably before Rolex. Was it before Rolex did it? I don't know, but all the like high-end brands afterwards started putting their own. I mean, you look at the back; it's hand wound. So you look at the back, and it's typical Longa's like architecture and the movement. There's so much depth. You see everything. There's no rotor obstructing it, and it's just like a beautiful watch. I think that might be one of my kind of. I don't know if it's attainable now because they're really kind of like
No,
in the
they're
80s,
definitely not.
90s
They're
now
not
on the secondary
attainable at
market.
all. Yeah.
But it's such a beautiful watch. The Datagraph, I would love to have one.
Yeah.
Like the new one that came out this year. What
Well,
is
with
it?
the Lumen with
The
the
Lumen?
with the tourbillon or something.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Rattrapante as
Yeah,
well?
yeah.
Oh my
But
god.
the Longa Datagraph is after the Daytona, like maybe my favorite chronograph
Graph,
ever.
yeah.
Oh, I think I still have a few more if we're gonna go into Arnhem.
Let's honor
Yeah.
mention it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
The IWC, I think it's the 3705. It's the pilot watch chronograph.
Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
was sick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Day
yeah.
date, the
Yeah.
chopped hour hand, like the sizing on that watch is awesome. That one's a really cool version
Yeah.
as well.
I mean, I have the 37, 17, 13
Exactly.
in gold. I
Yeah.
love that watch.
The what is it called? The Breitling Navitimer.
Oh yeah, we gotta mention
Classic
Breitling for
chronograph.
sure.
Yeah.
And the top times as well.
Yeah.
New and old.
Brumetric.
Brumetric,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great for
that's a
some under
classic.
500.
Yeah, under
yeah.
$500. You're literally wearing, well, not
the chronograph.
version,
I haven't
but,
used to have a chronograph, but
yeah.
I mean, you have like
AP Royal chronographs.
I was about to say
Yeah.
AP Royal chronograph is great.
The code 1159 chronographs are cool too. But the Streamliner chronograph with that single, it's all
Yeah, the
on
flyback.
the flyback.
Yeah,
That's
that one's
cool.
There's like every
It's like,
brand's
like,
chronograph.
yeah,
like every brand who has a
the
chronograph is cool.
The Aquanaut and Nautilus with the single subdial is cool.
Yeah.
Even the Blancpain Air Command is a cool. Like that's their pilot
The
watch.
Breguet Type 20.
Yeah, then you have to mention the Breguet Type 20.
Yeah.
The Seamaster chronograph.
Now we're just
Yeah,
naming chronographs.
yeah.
The Zenith Defy Revival
Revival.
chronographs.
Like the Shadow chronograph is super
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
But that has the El Primero movements.
Also
Yeah, that's true.
the El Primero. Well, you talked about the El
Yeah.
Primero triple calendar.
Oh, I think it's the best.
It's so nice.
Yeah,
It's on January.
38 millimeter chronograph,
Yeah.
full calendar. That's like
Yeah.
incredible. We have to mention JLC. JLC
Oh,
reverso chrono.
and the tribute.
And
Oh,
the tribute.
yeah.
chrono.
Should've
Oh,
drafted
yeah.
it.
God, I didn't
Oh,
draft it
You would have
again.
had a perfect 3 draft for you.
You would have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Between the Daytona.
But
Yeah.
also,
I like the long. I should have drafted it instead of the Monaco. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But then JLC also has that full calendar chronograph in
Yeah.
the Master Control series. And
Yeah.
you don't really see full calendar chronograph unless, like mentioned, Zenith or Patek Philippe is the next one I think about.
Yeah.
Who makes those kinds of
But
watches?
they don't. Yeah.
So anyway, what do you think about our picks for chronographs? Give us your top 3 chronographs, dive watches, and integrated bracelet watches in the comments. We'll see whether people agree with us, whether we got it wrong, and we'll see you next time.